Hello and welcome to another Game Nexus Dead or Alive video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the final game in the quote-unquote Dead or Alive 5 series, Dead or Alive 5 Last Round. Now this game was available in a few different ways. Of course, the first way was if you had your hard copies or digital copies of Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate for Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3, you could actually just download the last round patch. But I believe when you downloaded the last round patch, the two new characters to come to last round, Hinoka and Raido, were not included. And then, of course, even for the hard copy, which was available for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and of course it was available on Steam for PC, you got Hinoka and Raido with the hard copies, but you didn't get the new characters, which were downloadable content, so you had to pay for Mai from King of Fighters. And of course, from what I understand, actually, Natora, the guest character, was actually exclusive to the PS4, Xbox One, and PC versions. You could never get her here, according to what I've read. But as you can see, I have the game on my PlayStation 4 here. Now, I definitely have to say, the game looks a little bit better. Maybe it runs a little bit smoother, but if you're used to this, it's not a night and day difference with this. This game is not like going from PlayStation to PlayStation 2. It's basically porting this to here. But enough of me blabbing on about this. Let's take our PlayStation 4 controller here. You just gotta turn the controller back on because it does go off after a while. And let's play ourselves some Dead or Alive 5 Last Round and see what the last game in this series, as I like to do my air quotes, is like. And how this next-gen upgrade changed things. So let's get right into this and let's take a look at Dead or Alive 5 Last Round. You'll hear the disc spin up, and we're going to get right into this, so let's take a look at the game. And as you can see here, it'll do the Tecmo Koei Games, Tecmo logo, and then the usual logos that like you usually get in any of the previous Dead or Alive games. And as I had mentioned before in the video, this update would actually happen automatically if you were running the PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360 versions. So what would happen is it would say, hey, there's an update available, and the game would update to last round. And of course, since this game was so downloadable content heavy, every time it actually logs into the game, it has to check if there's new downloadable content that's been added and make sure everything's okay with all the DLC packs and everything. And as you can see, as the game was still active, downloadable content ended in like 2017, I want to say. You would see little updates in the corner there as to what new DLC would be added. And now, if you would believe me here, what you're seeing here is my 8th gameplay of this, because in the PlayStation 4/Xbox One version of this game, there is one exclusive stage which is called the Danger Zone, and in those first 7 gameplays, the stage never randomly showed up, and I really wanted to show what the stage looked like. Because other than a clothing destruction feature in a downloadable content pack that I didn't bother to buy, I believe that the Danger Zone stage is the only other like 100% exclusive thing to this version of the game on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Of course, as you could see, I'm actually playing this on my PlayStation 4 console, as I showed you in the beginning. Okay, now, as far as releases go for Dead or Alive 5 Last Round, in North America for Xbox One, Xbox 360, and PlayStation 4, it was released on February 17th of 2015. In Japan, it was February 19th, And in Europe, it was February 20th. Now, the update that was released for this, which was Update 2 for the arcade version, was released February 19th of 2015. Now, if you were actually in a Japanese arcade that had Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate Arcade, the actual title screen doesn't change like it would in the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and PC versions to last round. It actually would still say Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate Arcade, but it would actually just have the Dead or Alive 5 Last Round characters added, and the game would still have the exact same title screen. Now, as far as the PlayStation 3 version goes, in Japan, they had a physical release, and it was February 19th of 2015. In Europe, it was February 20th of 2015, and then in North America, the update came on February 24th of 2015. But of course, in any of the regions, you could buy a full digital version of Dead or Alive 5 Last Round for your console of choice. And the update didn't get pushed on PC until March 30th, 2015. Now, the Core Fighters version of this game, which was basically the same as the Core Fighters for Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate, which was just a version of the game that you could, like, buy extra contents and you'd get, like, 1 or 2 characters by default, and there'd be a rotating character that you could actually play as, like, for free. The Core Fighters version of the game were released in North America on February 17th of 2015, which actually are the exact dates that are matching the next-gen /360 versions. February 17th for North America, February 19th for Japan, and February 20th for Europe. And it looks like the free version for PC went worldwide on Steam on October 3rd of 2016, so you couldn't play the downloadable version of the like, quote-unquote free game till 2016 on PC. And of course, as I had mentioned briefly in the beginning there, through this whole time going from Dead or Alive 5 to Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate to Dead or Alive 5 Last Round, Tecmo was doing the same thing when it comes to all the downloadable content. And they were releasing a lot of downloads the whole time with all different kinds of costumes, extra costumes for everybody. And of course, when a new character got released, they would either release a debut costume pack, or they would even release more costumes for the character after the fact. But the good thing is most of the characters had, like, the character plus debut costume pack, and it was actually a pretty good deal at the time. And now the one difference here is the PC version is actually not modeled also off of the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 version, which features a some improved graphics tweaks and some improved physics. It's based off of the Xbox 360 and PS3 versions. So, at the point that these versions were released, your parity between the PC and console versions was lost, because the PC version is based off of the old systems, it's not based off of this one. And they couldn't update the whole game so it would work like this. And the thing I really like that they did, along with updated versions of the games, is they added a lot of the, like, Dead or Alive 3 stages and stuff that hadn't been seen since some of those older games. And what I was mentioning is there was a costume set for Senran Kagura, I might be saying that wrong, but in that game or in that anime series, I don't know, I've never really watched it much, but there is some kind of like costume destruction in that, and it actually works in the costume pack for this game, but it only works on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions of Dead or Alive 5 Last Round. So although those costumes were released on PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and PC, the costume destruction didn't work. And if you're wondering, if you've been watching this footage and wondering what's going on, during one of my 8 gameplays, I actually unlocked the OMG breast physics, and I had actually turned them on at one point. And I found out, just like in the Ninja Gaiden Sigma games, if you shake the controller, it makes the bounce happen a bit more. So if the character's just kind of standing there, everything just goes crazy if you're shaking your controller. And of course, you always have these over-the-top power blow moves, which are very handy in the hard mode and any mode that's above this, because you can take out a lot of health of your enemy without having to worry about it. So it really does help, especially when like you and the AI are kind of playing a game of cat and mouse, and one of you is like basically gonna lose, and then you can do that move. The only thing I really don't like is when the AI is really cheap, and then they just throw that move on so they can just destroy you really quickly. Now here is that stage I was actually mentioning before, the Danger Zone stage. This is the exclusive stage for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions. No matter how much you try to find it, you'll never find this in the PC, Xbox 360, or PS3 versions of the game. And as I had said, when I was playing all 8 of these playthroughs, this stage did not randomly show up in the game until this one. And it's very reminiscent of a lot of versions of the Danger Zone, except it does not have walls, so it's actually more reminiscent of the original Dead or Alive arcade game's Danger Zone. But of course they made it a bit more extreme in this game, where you actually fall really far when you fall off the platform. Whereas if I recall in the original game, they didn't have like you falling really far or at all, but it was still the same. The platform moves in about the same way. And now, if I hadn't touched on this before, the character Naotora here is actually from the Samurai Warriors games made by Koei. Because at this point, Tecmo and Koei have actually become one company, and they can actually like share characters between their games, which, as was mentioned in that Senran Kagura game, they actually featured a couple of the Dead or Alive characters in that game as well. Now, when it comes to the costumes, there's actually a few more like collaborations, like from Falcom, Square Enix, Tatsunoko Productions. But of course, all of those costumes packs were more money, and unfortunately, by the time you got done with Dead or Alive 5, you could have spent over $1,000 just on costumes. I don't mean even the games. Like, if you bought all 3 games at launch, I want to say that Dead or Alive, the 2 upgraded versions were both only $40, so it would be like $140 just for the games if you bought all 3 versions. But yeah, as I said, if you bought all the costumes, you would have spent over $1,000 on everything. And as you can see from any of the costumes you see in this game, all of the changes for them are simply aesthetic. There's no actual change to how your character performs or what actually happens when you actually play the game. And this was one of those stages I was mentioning. This is actually from Dead or Alive 3, And they created it really nice in the Dead or Alive 5 engine. And that was Naotora. She was the last downloadable content character in Dead or Alive 5 last round. And in Dead or Alive 5, really. And now I'm going to show you another one of the new characters, which is Hanoka. And she's actually become quite a popular character in the series since this game was released. And now, just in case you didn't know too much about Dead or Alive 5, they added this clone of Kasumi called Phase 4. I can remember up to the release of the downloadable content, we were all hoping it was going to be a new character. And then it turns out it was just a clone of Kasumi that has a slightly different moveset. So basically, unless I see the actual life bar there, or you can hear the theme music, or see the intro, the character looks identical to Kasumi, and she has different moves, but honestly, I think they should have just given Phase 4 away for free, because she's basically Kasumi with some retuned moves to go up. I actually liked Kasumi Alpha from Dead or Alive Dimensions a bit better, because instead of playing like the current Kasumi, Kasumi Alpha plays more like DOA 2 Kasumi. And now, Hanoka is a bit of a mixed bag. She has like moves from just about every character. I don't know if I actually end up doing all the moves. Now, both of the gameplays you're actually seeing in this video for Naotora and Hanoka are actually both done in hard mode. Because at this point I was thinking to myself, maybe the stage only appears if you have the difficulty turned up. And as I played 3 or 4 hard modes, it looks like it's actually absolutely random. Because no matter what I did, it didn't seem like it gave any more chance of that danger zone level showing up. And I just thought it was funny here that I was doing the dragon kick to Janli, because as you can see, Hanoka has a lot of different characters and moves, kind of like Raido did in all the other Dead or Alive games, where he would have like Hayabusa's flip, and then he would have a lot of Kasumi's moves because he does a lot of the Mugen Tenshin. And then of course here's Marie Rose, who is the new character from Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate. And this is one of those levels that the background looks pretty good, but the level itself really isn't that fun. It's pretty much like a flat level with a nice looking background. And if anybody ever wanted me to do some gameplay of Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate Arcade, I could, because at this point, I do have that running on the on Techno Parrot, which is a thing that simulates the hardware of the game. It's not an emulator, as the game is still running on your computer. It just basically makes the game think it's being run on the Ring Edge 2 board instead of your computer. But other than like the title screen and a different intro, Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate Arcade is basically the same as Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate for Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. And I think I might have had that physics, that OMG physics on at this point as well, because I'm just noticing that. I'm going to actually be uploading a second video in a few days after this one's released. Of course, if you're seeing this like years and years in the future, it's going to be the one that shows right after this on the playlist. But it will have a gameplay of Raido, who hasn't been seen in a console release since the first game. and Mai from King of Fighters, who was a really cool guest fighter, which I remember a lot of people, when she was released for Dead or Alive 6, kind of got annoyed because it's the same guest fighter released again. But of course, Dead or Alive 6 is a story for another video. And I seriously don't know why. The character just kind of stands there and stares at the camera for a while. I always swear it seems like they're gonna say something. And I can remember when I fought Alpha 152 here in hard mode, I was thinking, oh no, there's no way I'm gonna possibly beat her. Because now this is hard mode, and she'll definitely beat me. And as you can see, she actually made short work of me in the first round. But basically, what you have to do with Alpha 152 in any of the Dead or Alive games is just not let her take advantage of your weaknesses, and just like basically give her as many quick moves as you can, because she'll do the same thing to you. And that's one thing I always thought was kind of silly with Alpha 152, is in these games she actually has her own costumes, and it's more or less the silhouette of Kasumi without any details, kind of like wearing a schoolgirl outfit and stuff. It's the weirdest looking thing ever. This game, now actually Dead or Alive Dimensions was the first time that Alpha 152 and all the bosses were playable. That's why I was mentioning that Dead or Alive 5, the last round, was the first time Raito has appeared in a console Dead or Alive since the first game, of course. All 4 bosses actually showed up in Dead or Alive Dimensions, which was really nice.
Let's talk more action.
And I don't know if you've shown in my Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate video, but Jackie Bryant here was the new one of the new characters for Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate. And he does have some moves which can be really annoying, so you really just have to not let him take advantage of you, more or less. And this is like Leon's desert stage, which was another one they added with Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate as well. And whenever I see Jackie Bryant, I always think of playing Dead or Alive, Virtua Fighter 4 on the Sega Naomi 2. And it would always be like when I was trying to do a gameplay for an arcade video, and he'd always be my choke point because he'd have these crazy counters where he'd keep on countering your moves and I could never get through him. And in that game, it always seems like he'd be like 1 or 2 before the last character, who of course was always Akira in that game. So he'd always end up being the choke point when I was trying to do an arcade video of see, I got Dead or Alive on the mind because that's what we're doing right now, but of Virtua Fighter 4. And I like how they do the particles here. I will say that the graphics do look a bit sharper in this version of Dead or Alive 5. Like, you'll notice the hair moves a little bit more natural, and some of the physics are just a little bit better. So the upgrade to the next generation, if you will, actually did help quite a bit. And if you see the move that Hanoka was doing right there, that was a Lisa / La Mariposa move. And I wouldn't doubt, if you look very carefully at some of this footage, you'll notice a lot of the borrowed / stolen moves that she actually does. The one that I always notice the most is the dragon kick, because not even Raito ever did that. But I remember in the original Dead or Alive, the one move that Raito always did was what's it called? It was the head hold into the Frankensteiner, where he'd slam your head down onto the ground. And that was always a Jan Lee move, and I always thought that it was cool that Raito did it. And instead of making like the high yaws like Jan Lee did, he would just go, "Dad!" and slam your head in the ground. And of course, this will be the last match of this particular gameplay. I know in one of these actual gameplays, I don't think it's this one, but since there's so many versions of Dead or Alive 5, since like we had the PS3 versions and then of course the PlayStation 4 version, in one of these gameplays I actually ended up doing the thing where you knock the character through the clown's mouth and they get shot out by a cannon. And I actually got that trophy for PlayStation 4, because it's just something I hadn't done on PlayStation 4. I think I did it on PlayStation 3 a long time ago. Because that's one of the things, is that your achievements / trophies do not carry over because it's considered a different game. And you'll notice that Hanoka even has a few wrestling moves under her belt. Oh, okay, I actually was incorrect. Mai was actually the last downloadable content character, making Naotora the last original character. Well, original as in she wasn't from a different fighting game. And the game was supported downloadable content until December 2017, when full-time development on Dead or Alive 6 began. Well, that's been Dead or Alive 5 last round. Really fun game, worth the upgrade to the new consoles. And I will see you next time, or in the next video for a couple more gameplays. Bye!